Let's shift gears a little bit. You were telling us a story just before. Everyone probably knows this, but there's a dessert that's now world famous, the molten chocolate cake that Jean-Georges created. And sometimes it gets credit for it, sometimes it doesn't. But you invented the cake. Tell the crowd the story of how that cake came to be.
I mean, it was in 1986 when I arrived in New York. I was the chef at the Lafayette in the Drake Hotel. On the third month I was there, we did a party in a banquet room for 500 people. I don't like to do banquets, but once in a while, when you work in a hotel, you have to do it. For the testing, it was a wedding, so they came to me. I did an old chocolate cake from my family heritage. We did it individually, so usually it was like a loaf of chocolate. There was kind of a lot of flour in there, so you had to cook it all the way through. On that night, we put the 500 individual cakes in the oven, on the temperature of the oven dropped by half. So those 6 minutes of cooking were totally wrong. But after 6 minutes, we took everything out. It looked fine. We unmolded, everything unmolded. When we served it to 500 people, all the customer cut into it, and it was oozing of raw dough with a lot of flour in it. On the end, they asked me to come out, and I got a standing ovation for the chocolate cake. I couldn't believe it, but that's what happened.
It was on the menu the next day.
It was on the menu the next day, but we took the flour out because nobody wants to eat raw flour. But it tasted okay. So that's what happened.
How does that compare to the usual process of inventing a dish?
I mean, there's I work with a great chef who worked next to me. His name is Greg Brennan. And together I have the best job in my company because I spend my day, we're just creating food every day. So we work on sweet bread today, work on squash tomorrow. So we develop probably 20 dishes. But there's a lot of failure. A lot of when you test things, there's a lot of things that don't work. I would never put a dish on a menu if I don't finish it myself. So usually when we cook a dish, I want the first bite to be as exciting as the last bite. If the last bite you have is still flat, we go back to the drawing board, we're doing it again until it tastes right. So I think the balance of, I probably learned that in Asia, the balance of sweet, salty, crunchy, sour. I mean, you need to put all the elements to really make that dish exciting to the last bite.
How long does it usually take for a dish to get from concept to plate?
Some dishes take 2 minutes, some take 2 years.
Any particular dish you can recall that was very hard to get right, but you knew you wanted to?
No, I mean it's never hard. It's just like I think you have to be seasonal with what you cook. First, you have to be in the mood. With the weather like this, you want to be squash, chestnut, celery, root vegetables. You really want to be, that's the feeling of today. So I think you have to cook with your mood on what you want to eat, on the season as well. I mean, sometimes I don't understand. I mean, we need reservation in restaurants, but sometimes I don't get. I mean, people make reservation a month ahead in a Chinese restaurant, but if today you feel like the day of, you feel like Italian, you're in the wrong place. You're not going to enjoy it. So I mean, I love reservation because it fills up our restaurants, but I decide at 10 o'clock what I'm going to eat at 11 at night, so I don't know how people can decide ahead. I mean, usually it's people make a reservation that long ahead is a celebration, anniversary, birthday, but for me it's very hard to make a reservation more than 2 hours before,
I know the feeling.
I think you have to follow your mood and your cravings. It's all about cravings.
Over the 35 years that you've been in the business, have your cravings and tastes changed?
They do change, but sometimes I go back to really like classical dishes, like stews or something who cooks for a long time. Or, I think as you grow older, 20 years ago I was putting everything on a plate. Some plates are like 25 ingredients on it. You try to impress. You try to. I think as you grow older, you take all the superfluous away. And you go to that essential piece of scallop with a little spice, little seasoning, which is, you keep things much more natural, I think, much more,